Hello you guys, so today's video is going to be my first recommendation video for you guys for the new year, and I'm really excited. I'm starting it off with one of my favorite genres, and it's going to be thriller, so I'm just so excited. Whether they're like more suspenseful, a little bit mystery, but these are all definitely ones that mess with your mind, that get you freaked out, and that I have absolutely loved reading, and definitely have them on my shelves because I will reread them again because they are definitely some of my favorite books that I own. So I'm just gonna dive in. I was trying to keep it to about 5, but I have like one author who has several books that I really enjoy and just different things like that. So I'm not gonna limit this video. I'm just gonna talk about all my favorites, and hopefully you guys will have a couple favorites as well. If you see a favorite that you love too, make sure you leave a thumbs up. And if you have any other recommendations, I would love to hear them down below in the comments. So let's dive in. So this first book that I'm going to talk about actually made my top 2017 books as well. So if you guys missed that video, I will put it in the cards or maybe linked below. That way you guys can check out all the favorites that I had during the year of 2017. But this one is Still House Lake by Rachel Caine. It is so great. It immediately hooked me from the opening chapter where this wife is coming home with her 2 kids. They see this cop car seen like surrounding their house. They see that there is a car that has crashed into their garage, revealing a crime scene, and everything starts to unravel. They find out that her husband was a serial killer. So like big shock there, and then they go on this run. She's so paranoid, things start to happen. So everything in this just kept me on edge. I was constantly turning the page. I absolutely loved it. I had no idea. I think this book is definitely underrated, so I am telling everyone about it. I hope you guys will pick it up too and let me know what you think. The sequel to this actually just released in December. I have yet to pick it up, but it is on my list, but I am also trying to be a little more selective about some of the books that I pick up, and there's a couple other ones for some buddy reads I want to pick up first, but again, I'm dying to get my hands on the second version of this, and I hope you guys will give this one a chance too. And then moving on, there's another one that really kind of played with my mind. I didn't give it 5 stars, I don't think, for a couple little reasons, but one that I am still thinking about and I definitely want to reread again. It's got a couple little sci-fi elements to it on top of, you know, that like mystery kind of suspense feeling. And it is called The Ridge. This is by John Rector. Excuse me. First of all, I love the cover, and then second of all, it's got some really interesting elements kind of playing out through this. I almost felt like a little bit like The Truman Show, where she was being constantly watched. There was this town that her and her husband moved to, and he works for this this company. She basically stays at home. She witnesses something. She's trying to figure it out, and yet the whole town is like covering things up, and so she's trying to unravel this mystery, and at the same time, they make her almost feel like she's losing her mind. It was just the weirdest, creepiest, eeriest kind of like read. As I was reading this, I really felt paranoid as well. So this one definitely got under my skin a little bit. Has some weird sci-fi elements like I mentioned, but I loved this read. I thought it was really great, and I would definitely read more from John Rector because I really, really loved this one. The next book also made my top 2017 videos, and it is The Marriage Lie by Kimberly Bell. This one was really interesting. I like when we have an unreliable narrator, just kind of like in The Ridge as well. But this one is this wife named Iris who finds out that her husband was on this plane that crashed. However, he was not going where he said he was going. So she has to try to figure out, you know, what was happening. And these secrets start to come through that her husband was keeping, and she's trying to unravel this mystery and finding out, you know, her husband wasn't who she really thought he was. A lot of things happen, and basically this one kept me going, kept me on edge. The pages turned very quickly, and I wanted to know what was happening. Towards the end, though, I felt like it was a little bit too easy of like a wrap-up. It's something I totally predicted and could see happening, and I was a little disappointed in it. But overall, I thought this was a really great read. Then we have another one that made my top 2017, and it is Good Me, Bad Me by Ali Land. Now, this was a debut novel, and it is so good. So we kind of go back to some of those narrator or unreliable narrator kind of feels. And what happens in this one is we have a daughter immediately in the first few pages who is turning in her mother for being a serial killer. So I love this. I had like vibes of like Dexter and a different series that I'm going to talk about here in just a moment. and I absolutely loved it. So we see this daughter try to like choose whether she wants to be good or follow in her mother's footsteps and be bad, and this whole play on this game that the mom and her have going, and it's just so weird, and there's so many little things that kind of mess with your mind that really get you to think. I was constantly left guessing, and I just, again, wasn't sure what was reality and what was actually playing out in this little girl's mind. So it definitely kept me turning those pages, and that is something I like to see. It just got to me in certain ways, like it was a little bit wrong to like this character when you know that everything that she knows and things that happened, but it is so good, and it was a really fantastic debut, so I look forward to more from Allie Land, and I would definitely recommend this one to you guys as well. So this next one is a book that I constantly recommend. I haven't been able to stop thinking about it since I read it, and it is K.A. Tucker's He Will Be My Ruin. This one is kind of weird because I feel like it had a lot of romance elements, so it was just weird because there's a lot of things happening, and it's like a romance thriller of sorts, I suppose. Okay, so Maggie finds out that Celine has committed suicide, and it just like rocks her world. She doesn't think her best friend would ever do something like that, and she's in charge of flying to New York to her best friend's apartment to help wrap everything up, to clean out the apartment, kind of settle everything. And in the process of doing so, she starts getting these feelings and starts finding some clues that really makes her think that Celine didn't kill herself, that this was actually a murder. A lot of characters come into play. There's a lot of questions that come up, and like I said, this is a book that's going to keep you guessing and keep those pages turning, and definitely just threw me for a bunch of loops, because every time I thought I had it figured out, something else would pop up, something would change my mind, and I was wrong, and I would have to like try to piece everything together again. And so this is another one that is really great, a little strange and a little different, but really good. So next up is not necessarily a particular book, but more so of this author and her books. It is Gillian Flynn. So we have Sharp Objects, we have Dark Places, and then of course the famous Gone Girl. So that was the first one that I read because of the movie. I read it, I loved it, immediately had to pick up the other two. They are just as dark and twisted. And I think Gillian Flynn is one of my favorite writers because, like I said, her writing is so good. You love everything, and they keep you guessing, and yet they're so dark and twisted and so just like wrong in so many ways, but you love it, and it just propels the story forward. It keeps you just like freaking out, and then sometimes you don't even want to read these in the dark because they're a little creepy, and it just, again, plays with your mind. And I don't think I can even put in order how much or like which one I love the most, because I love them all, and I cannot wait for her to release another book because these have all become, you know, top favorites of mine on my thriller shelf. And so I, again, always recommend Gillian Flynn for someone looking for a really fantastic, dark, twisted read. So last but not least, this series, guys, I think it might be my favorite book ever. Like, I cannot stop talking about them, and every time I see someone else pick them up and they say, you know, it's worth the hype, or they have to see what it's about, or whatever the case may be, I'm always telling people, like, it is a lot to handle. There's definitely some mature things happening, and the language is a little bit crude at times, but if you can get through all of that, like, this is one of the most intense, mind-blowing reads ever. I love it, and I can't get over it. It is You by Carolyn Kepnes, and there's even a sequel, so it gets better, in Hidden Bodies. So in You, we follow this guy who works in this like bookstore, and this girl walks in, and he immediately like has this crush on her, and he weasels himself into her life, like literally pushes his way into her life, and becomes kind of like the boyfriend of sorts, I suppose. And the second that this girl crosses him, kills her. And that's basically how you start to find out that this guy is a serial killer. And he is the most unreliable narrator. He is the creepiest, most disturbed person. Definitely uses social media and different social aspects from this, you know, time to stalk these women, and it is so creepy. It makes you second guess everything that you do with your life and what you put out there, but at the same time, he is so lovable, and his name is Joe, and I cannot get enough of Joe. Like, I sped through this and loved it so much, and then I had to grab the sequel, Hidden Bodies, and in my opinion, I almost feel like he gets even better in this one, and in this one, he follows this girl to California, so then you not only get, like, him stalking this girl and him weaseling into their life, like he starts to fall in love, and then being betrayed, and then he gets betrayed, and so all these things start to happen, but what's really great within these is there's a lot of pop culture references, and there's this thing he's got with, like guacamole and avocados, and the hipster, like, references, like, it is almost too much. He's very funny. You get to hear all of his internal thoughts, and it's just so intriguing, and like I said, just the things that happen will totally shock and blow your mind, but he is such a lovable character that you just keep going with it. Like, you can't help but love him, and you guys, I love this so much, and I want Caroline to come out with another book, which she does have a release coming this year. I can't remember if it's in June, so I'm definitely going to be reading that. There's also a TV show coming out for you, and I can't wait for that. I really hope that it lives up to the hype of this because I'm so obsessed, like I said, just can't get over this. And I'm so, so thrilled that I came across these, so thank you so much to the book community for bringing these to my attention, and if you guys have not picked these up yet, like, what are you waiting for? Like, this is so amazing. Maybe I will even host, like, a giveaway for when I hit 1,300 followers. Maybe I should do, like, a giveaway for this. So if you guys like that idea, definitely leave a thumbs up, and I will try to make that happen as well, but, yeah, this is, like, one of my favorite reads ever. Love it so much. Alright guys, so that is it for my thriller recommendations. Like I said, if you guys have a favorite, thumbs up. If you guys have a different recommendation, definitely comment below. And I would like to know what you guys would like to see for the next recommendation video. If you want something from sci-fi, a middle grade, something YA, women's fiction, whatever it is, definitely comment below, and the one with the most votes is the one that I will start working on next. So thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I love you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye!